Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's me, Swastika, and it's been such a long time since I last posted, but I was getting a lot of questions on my YouTube on what possible career options you can have after doing a master's from JNU or after getting a degree from JNU, because a lot of people think that like your career options are probably exhausted in a place like India, which has such a high demographic dividend and such a shortage of jobs. But guys, fear not. In this video I will tell you exactly how you can land up your dream job and what are the possible options that you as a student can explore as soon as your degree ends, as soon as your college ends. And I will also give you some insights into how I also went about this entire procedure of trying to get a job and how that worked out for me. So the first thing I want to say is that JNU as a space has courses in both the streams, in science and in social science as well. And in both the cases, there are a plethora of opportunities that students can choose from, that students can pick from in case they want to pursue a career in any of these spaces. So for both of the students, be it science students or be it students who are pursuing a degree in humanities, you have something that is called the Jnu Placement Cell. Okay, so what happens in this is that you can simply register and be a part of the placement cell, and they will keep sending you updates through your email. They will keep sending you updates through a WhatsApp group that I'm sure they must have formed, and in this you will get to know of a lot of opportunities that are specifically available for students who are alumni or students who are in JNU or in any of the spaces. So with this, once you register for this, you will keep getting updates and you can keep applying for private organizations, for government organizations, for however you want to shape your future. So that is the first thing. So I would definitely say that in case you are a student in JNU, please go and register with the JNU Placement Cell. You can also get added on their WhatsApp group. The people who are who are sort of taking this forward are very nice, very sweet people. They will interact with you. They will tell you what needs to be done, what doesn't need to be done. So please feel free to reach out to the president, to the vice president of the placement cell. So they're very helpful people. Okay, so that is the first thing. And of course, in this, it doesn't matter if you are from a science stream or from a humanities stream, or engineering or even MBA. I'm sure there are enough opportunities for everyone who sort of registers with the placement cell. So that is the first thing. The second thing that I want to say is that you have to make a choice in terms of how you want to pick your career. So you can basically make a choice between two options, right? So the first option you are going to have is that you can either be a part of a private organization, of a corporate organization. So a lot of people who are alumni and who are pass outs from JNU don't actually want this because it's a different value system, it's a different culture, it's a very corporate culture once you sort of become a part of private organizations. But a lot of the students do actually go in for it. So this is completely your personal choice, how you as an individual think that you can fare better. So some people will perhaps flourish more and perform better in a corporate setup, in a more capitalist sort of environment, and some people would actually do better in research organizations, in think tanks, in the government sector. So this is completely your choice, this is completely your discretion, and this is the first choice you have to make, that where do you see yourself? Do you see yourself as somebody who is in a more corporate environment, or do you see yourself as somebody who's more inclined towards the government sector? Once you've sort of made the choice, you can start limiting the pool of options you have. So in case you choose to go in for a private sector, in case that is the option that you sort of pick, then the first thing about being a part of a corporate setup is that you have to start building your skill set. So as soon as you start building your skill set, you can, talk about it. You can talk about how you know Google SEO. You can talk about how research is also intermingling with technology. There are intersections between the field of tech and the field of humanities. So you can build a skill set. It can be in writing, it can be in terms of Google SEO, it can also be in terms of social media. So once you are done doing that, you have to now see that where in the private setup do you see yourself. So if you want a career in education, because that is something, because JNU as a space promotes education and empowerment and all of those things. So if you are somebody who is from the private, who wants to get into the private sector and wants to explore a career in education, you can go and work in startups and companies like Byju's. You can work in spaces like Unacademy, because they're constantly hiring educators. And I personally was an educator with Unacademy, and my experience over there was amazing. It was absolutely lit, because it was so much fun. I got to interact with a lot of young students, and a lot of them are there on my YouTube as well. So you can of course work in spaces like corporate spaces like Byju's or Unacademy, and that is really going to, or even Vedantu for that matter. So it's completely your choice where you want to work. And of course that's the first thing. The second thing is that in case you don't see yourself as somebody who wants to work under other people, and you sort of see yourself as somebody who can have his own thing, then you can also start exploring the option of having your own startup. So this is an absolutely amazing idea. A lot of people don't actually think about it that much in India, but you can of course have your own startup in terms of education. You can start building your audience from spaces like YouTube. You can have your own cloud of people who are going to follow you, and you can start educating them. You can do this virtually. You can also do this in a more physical space. It depends completely on you, on your teaching style. So for me personally, I love educating people, but I think for me it's more of a virtual thing. Like I would much rather teach people on Google Meet, on Zoom, and even on Instagram. You guys can connect with me, and from there I generally take up people for my classes. So it's completely your discretion how you want to do it. Some people want to teach students in a physical space, but that's completely your thing. So anyway, routing back to my point on startups. So you can definitely have your own startup if you don't see yourself as somebody who's working under other people. And this is still an option that is not explored in great depth in spaces like India, where people are constantly focusing on conventional careers. So of course, this is what I wanted to say. And okay, so another one of the things a lot of people ask me is that if I am doing a language course, then what are the possible job opportunities for me? So of course, for people, because there are a lot of language courses in JNU, and I see a lot of fun-loving, funky, intelligent students there, and they don't really know what they can do after this. So of course, one of the primary things you can do if you are studying languages is that you can work as a translator, because it's something that a lot of people don't explore this option. So of course you can work as a translator. That is the first option I want to give you. Okay, so moving on to my last point, in case you are somebody who's done the master's, who's done the PhD, and now wants to work in research. So guys, research is also an amazing option. So if you are more inclined towards academics, if you are more inclined towards academia, you can definitely pursue research in think tanks, in other spaces, and of course this is something you can pursue. So a lot of people who come from JNU also want to work in media, in spaces like the print or caravan or a lot of these spaces. So definitely, guys, you can keep exploring these options. You can work in research think tanks that are private. You can also work in you can also work in a lot of other things, a lot of other spaces. You can create your own space as well. And yeah, so that is about it. Okay. So, and lastly, for people who are doing international relations, because again, this is something that's a very popular course in JNU, because a lot of people go there just to do stuff in international relations, and we have a school that is separately put aside for international studies and area studies. So guys, you can work in spaces like ICWA. So you can work as an intern there, and if of course if you're doing well in your internship, I'm sure they would take you up and they would hire you and keep you and give you a job and all that stuff. So start building your CV. If you want to work in a private space, start focusing on having a skill set that is going to help you land a good job, and start creating your own space if you want to work in a private sector, if minting money is the idea behind your thing. Okay, so the second thing I want to say, and this is aligned towards people who want to take up jobs in the government spaces, right? Because a lot of people don't want to work in the private sector, because let's say they are not fully in tune, they don't enjoy it, and they want to work in a space that is probably associated with the government of India. So guys, what you can do is, of course, you have a lot of options in it as well. So if you see yourself as someone who has good administrative decision-making capacity, and if you think that you can do well there, then of course you can look at UPSC, at bureaucracy as an option. Because in JNU, in the short time of 2 years that I actually spent there, I saw that a lot of people were actually exploring this option, and a lot of them wanted to be bureaucrats. And of course, if you think that you fit the bill, if you think that you can study for 12 to 14 hours every day for a year without stopping, then this is the perfect job for you. Because of course it is going to test your decision making capacity, and it's completely in the space of administration, which is something a lot of people do prefer. And of course, if you are in JNU, you would see that a lot of people are actually preparing for UPSC, and you could definitely bundle yourself in with them and be a part of that flock. So, and it's going to help you, because you'll see that, you know, your friends are studying 14 hours every day. So you would actually get the courage and the inspiration to do the same. So it's going to be amazing. And okay, the second thing you can do in case you want to work in a government sphere, and in case you think that you know, research and probably academia is the future that you see yourself in, is that you can apply for the position of assistant professor. So of course this has an eligibility criteria. If you are somebody who's done let's say your masters with a good grade above 55% in most of the university spaces, and if you've qualified UGC net in that particular subject, then you are eligible to actually become a professor. And this you can do in both the spaces. You can do this in a government college if you enjoy it, and government colleges की vacancies आती रहती हैं, Delhi University की आती है, JNU की भी आती है, and a lot of other spaces. But if you say that I don't want to work in a government college and you want to explore other options like work in private universities, then that's amazing as well, because we have so many universities in India, and education is such an untapped space, and you can teach so many people, you can educate so many people if you yourself know stuff. So of course you can go to places like GD Goenka, you can go to spaces like Shiv Nadar, you can go to spaces like Noida International University. You can keep applying, and I'm sure they would take you somewhere or the other. And because of course we need more and more talented people in this country who are willing to educate other people, because education is ultimately the road to empowerment. So of course you can explore that option. That's going to be amazing. And after that, if you still see that, you know, you want to work in research, so this is the third option that I'm actually giving you. So what you can do is that you can start interning in spaces like Niti Aayog. So I think to become an intern at Niti Aayog, you sort of have to apply from the 1st of the month to the 11th of the month or something like that. It's an unpaid internship. I wouldn't say it's the greatest internship out there, but if you want some kind of an exposure into how government works, and if you have a lot of free time on your hands, then you can definitely explore this option of an internship at Niti Aayog. I'm sure they will take you up. So you can intern in research tanks that are more oriented towards the government side of things. Okay, so this is of course going to be another option. The next thing that you can consider in case you want to work in a government space is that you can work as an assistant registrar. So this is essentially dealing with the administrative setup of colleges and universities and how administration within the university has to be governed. So in case you are somebody who has got a master's and he's got a good grade in the master's, you can definitely apply for the position of assistant registrar in spaces like Jnu, in spaces, in a lot of other spaces, because of course they need more hands in the administration. So of course you can consider that as an option. After that, if you feel that, you still want to pursue academics, you still want to pursue research, then there's another option which is called getting a PhD. So you have to be very careful when you actually sort of make that decision. I think it's a major decision to make if or if not you want a PhD. So if you want to go in for a PhD, you can definitely apply in spaces in your thing. And of course, after getting a PhD, you would become an assistant professor. So the minimum eligibility to becoming an assistant professor is probably going to be getting a master's and getting UGC net through. But if you want to get a PhD, because of course that is going to not only supplement, but it is going to greatly help you in a lot of stuff, because you will get promotions in terms of your, like you can move from an assistant professor to an associate professor and then to a professor only if you have a PhD. So and of course getting a PhD is a very gruesome process, because you have to do a lot of stuff. It's not easy. You have to write it multiple times, and it's a very gruesome process. So you have to be very sure if you want to go in for a PhD, and if you're willing to sacrifice 4 to 5 years of your life into this process. So this is the decision you have to make with yourself. But in case you choose to go in for it, I would suggest that you get JRF, because if you get a JRF, you would get a monthly fees of, I think, around 30,000. They might cut it down a little, but you would just get that for doing your PhD. So try getting through UGC net with a JRF in the 2 years that you're actually finishing your master's, in case you plan on getting a PhD ahead. Okay. And of course, a lot of people feel that, we don't want to get a PhD in India. So if you are one of those people, you can apply abroad. You can get a PhD from abroad. But please keep in mind that, when you apply to spaces in USA, in UK, it's not very easy to get a direct admission into a PhD, especially with a scholarship, because I know a lot of people can't afford the high fees and the kind of money that actually goes into getting a PhD from USA, UK, or any of those places. So what you have to do is that you, instead of applying directly for a PhD, you can apply for a dual course, which is a master's plus a PhD. So the process of getting a PhD becomes easier. So your master's would just probably be 1 year, and after that you can get a PhD, because it's going to be a dual process. And you have to keep writing research papers. You have to get published in academic spaces like Economic and Political Weekly, or any other journal that is peer reviewed. So please, you can definitely look at that as an option, and getting a PhD from abroad would also give you a lot of exposure and would expose you to new ideas that you can bring and then implement to India. So that is that. And of course, if you are somebody who wants to pursue a PhD from, let's say, USA, then I would suggest you go and you visit the USIEF office in New Delhi. It's near Connaught Place, and you can get a free consulting there, and you can enroll in programs like Fulbright scholarship and a lot of other scholarships that they can actually tell you. So definitely you should look at that as an option. The last thing I want to say is, if you don't like any of these options, and if you really like the political atmosphere in spaces and university campuses like JNU, then you can also explore the option of politics. And I know some people think that it's such a dirty space, and it's probably not one of the best options for people, and especially for women. But I have, on a personal level, always encourage students to get into politics and to make that space, to make that area clean. And more importantly, I feel that people shouldn't be afraid of politics, because if the young ones and if the bright ones don't actually go and take a stand and put their thoughts out there, then who else is going to do it? So please don't be afraid of it. You can also look at politics as an option if that's your true calling. So I think this was it. It's been a very long video, but I just wanted to put everything I knew out there, because I know a lot of people have asked me this in the comment section, that what possible career options can we have, and like humanities करने के बाद हमारे career options इतने limit हो जाते हैं, हम क्या करें? तो आप चिंता मत करिए, आप काफ़ी कुछ कर सकते हैं, and it's all on you. So if I have to give you my personal example, when I did my masters, when I finished my masters, I knew I sort of, like, I don't know, I probably thought that I wanted to do something different, something more creative. So I started my own YouTube channel, and I worked in Byju's, and after that I worked with Unacademy, and now I'm also teaching people online, and I'm doing my own thing. And I think that brings a lot of happiness, that generates a lot of happiness. And I personally love teaching, and I think it's sort of my passion to work in spaces that are related to education in India, because I feel it's such an untapped industry, and there's so much scope, and there's so much you can do, and you can monetize on your passion, of course, because ultimately a lot of things in life are going to be about money. So it's completely your calling, what you want to do and how you want to take yourself forward, because you are going to be the captain of your own ship, the commander of your own space, and you can do a lot of stuff. So on that bright and that positive note, I hope you guys found this video useful. I hope you found it helpful in any of the ways, and in case you did, then please don't forget to subscribe, because that would really encourage me. And you can ask any questions, any doubts, anything that you want to know in the comment section down below. I try to respond and to reply to everyone, but in case I can't, then I'm really sorry. But of course, you can keep giving me suggestions on what you want to see next if you have any questions and any queries, because I would love to answer them. So thank you so much, and I will see you all soon. Don't forget to subscribe. You can follow me on Instagram, and thank you.